there, it's Kat and this is Brews and Reviews. No, I'm okay. So today I'm going to be giving you guys my December wrap up, and I'm still sick, so sorry about it. I'm probably not going to explain things very well and I'm going to be a mess, but you know what to expect on this channel by this time, don't you? I mean, like, have you met me? Okay, so technically, as I film this, it is December 30th, so the month isn't over, but I'm definitely not going to read anything tomorrow. I just don't have the energy. I'm in a bit of a slump. I'm not going to do it. So I thought I'd film this for you guys now, so you can see what I read in December, my slumpy month. So I started off the month by reading American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis, and this book has been on my 2019 TBR, so I was like, oh, yeah, I'll definitely read that. It's December, I want to take a few more off. That one I will get done because I found the audiobook of it for really cheap one time and I was like, I'll buy it, it's fine. Oh my god, that book. So, I'm sure quite a lot of you out there have seen the film of American Psycho. And, you know, yeah, that film was a good film. Fine, film's fine. Fine. The book, right, is not fine. It's not fine. Okay, so, it follows the same sort of storyline, and it's definitely satirical, and I'm gonna be throwing it out there right now that satire kind of goes over my head sometimes. Like, I get it. Like, I get it. It just isn't, like, something that, like, resonates in here. It just doesn't, like, okay. So, now that's out of the way, yes, that was good. The satire was good. But then there were, like, bits in this book that were like, I don't think I've ever really wanted to physically be sick while reading a book until I read this book, because, oh my god. Oh my god. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna read American Psycho. And then people were warning me. Like, Lauren from She Is Such a Lauren kept saying, no, it's really graphic. And I was like, yeah, okay, sure, I can deal with graphic. And I was like, oh my fucking god. When it got to, like, certain bits, I had to pause it, have a sit down. Because I was, like, doing some cleaning while I was, like, doing this. And it's like, and then he ripped out the woman's tongue with his teeth. And I was like, No, because, like, that wasn't the bit that, like, really made me take a sit down. There was a bit involving a rat, and, like, anyone who has read this book will know why I'm slightly scarred right now, because holy fuck. I mean, I know that those things probably didn't happen. Like, it's probably all going on in his mind, because he's a crazy man. But, like, still, reading the vivid, visceral descriptions as it went from, like, super intense, like, threesomes and sex scenes and things like that, and you're, like, really into it, and then he's like, I'm murdering people, but, like, really horribly. Like, oh god, it was so gross. It was so gross. I'm, like, scarred a little bit. And it just left me feeling really weird, and I didn't really know what to do with myself afterwards, because I was like, I feel unclean now, and need a wash. Yeah, it was not a nice feeling of a book having left me with, and I didn't really know how to rate it, because while I thought, oh my god, this is disgusting and, like, ugh, gross, I didn't hate it. It was well written. It was an interesting book. It was satirical, and there's, like, entire chapters where he, like, goes into, like, Whitney Houston's top 10 hits and things like that, and you're like, what the fuck is happening? But I don't know, I didn't hate it. Obviously I didn't like it, but I didn't know how to feel afterwards. So I ended up giving it 2 out of 5 stars, because I couldn't give it a 1 star because I did not think it was a 1-star book. I actually think, like, quality of writing and the way that things were sort of developed and everything were way more than I gave it. But personally, I did not like the super graphicness of it. It was just a little bit too much for me, and I like really graphic things. It's just the way that it went from, like, you know, normal Whitney Houston biting someone's vagina lips off. Yeah, I think for me that probably was not the best book to read, and I think that might have partly contributed towards my slump and made me read slightly less. It could also have been the 25 videos that I filmed earlier on in December, but Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, so I don't know. If you're interested in the concept of American Psycho, definitely go for it, but be aware that it's super fucking graphic. It's so graphic. So graphic. Do not underestimate that. So graphic. So next up, I'm going to talk to you guys about my favourite book of the month. No surprises there. It is Knights of Dark Renown by David Gemmell. Of course it was a David Gemmell book. Of course it was! Yay! So I had never read this book before, despite David Gemmell being my favourite author, and I loved it. It was really enjoyable, and I filmed a sort of review reaction, which I'll leave in the description below, and it's basically just me crying for like the whole video. It's just me sort of crying as I talk about this book, but like it was great. I really enjoyed it, and it's basically this fantasy realm where the king goes a bit nuts and he's got some like evil knights with him, and a group of misfits made up of just people who just all sort of come together, have to form the Knights of the Gabala, who are like good, honourable knights. And it feels a little bit King Arthur-y without like King Arthur. So it's just the knights. There's also like surprise paranormal elements to this. I definitely spoil that in my little crying review, but like it's really good. There's an interesting magic system of it, but it's not massively explored, but it's still cool. And yeah, it just like made me cry, as most David Gemmell books do. Really good, and yeah, definitely read this one. Although there is definitely trigger warnings for suicide and rape. So there's that. Also, in American Psycho, just basically there's trigger warnings for everything, and I mean, don't read it. Or do, but just be aware there's trigger warnings for everything in that shit. Not this one, just a few in this one. Yeah. Next up, I decided to read The Gunslinger by Stephen King. I have been saying I'm going to be reading this one for such a long time, and I finally did, which is a good thing. Although, I didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to. I think I had an expectation for this book, and I forgot that westerns aren't really my thing. Maybe it was because I listened to it as opposed to reading it, but I usually get along better with Stephen King. I usually get along better with Stephen King's writing when I'm listening to it rather than reading it, so I thought that would be a good way of going about it, but I don't know, I just didn't really feel connected with the characters, and I can't really understand why. I just didn't have that draw, that thing. It definitely got more interesting towards the end, and I was like a bit more drawn into it, but a little bit at the beginning where he's like in the town, banging the lady, just seeing the people in the town. I was just bored. Like, it just took way too long to get into it, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, it was fine. It got better. I got more into it as it went on, but I didn't love it, and like, I'll continue with this series, but I'm not running out to do it now. So what will happen is I'll probably wait ages and then pick up this series. It's just I know that the books in this series get way bigger, and I feel like that's a lot of a commitment for something that I was feeling like was just okay, it was fine. So yeah, I'm a bit disappointed in this one, but you win some, you lose some, and westerns aren't really my thing, and this is kind of a bit of a western, so you know, it happens. Next up, I read Bird Box by Josh Malerman, and I kind of was a bit unsure about this one. I picked it up in the Audible sale because I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to read it. I watched the film and it was fine. It was like an alright film, and I wasn't really sure. And then I read the book, and I actually really enjoyed it. It was, I think, darker than the film. There was something about the way that the film sort of portrayed what people did after seeing the creatures, and it was just a little bit silly for me. And maybe I've just watched too many, like, reviews of it and things like that where people have sort of been taking the mick out of it, and it's sort of influenced my view on it. But when I was reading the book, it just seemed like the situation was so much darker and everyone was so much more scared. I found that the people living in the house with Mallory were way more relatable and just, you know, nice. Like, in the film, they're really not nice people, and you're like, I don't really care if you die, that's fine, you're fine. But, like, in the book, you get a bit more attached to people, and you can sort of understand that what it is that they are trying to do, and how fragile what they're building is, and I really enjoyed that. I thought it was really well written, and I just enjoyed it, so I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and yeah, it was a good thriller. It was kind of like the perfect antidote to The Gunslinger, which was just like, this one just like, yeah, made me feel like reading again, so I enjoyed that. Next up, I was trying to get into the sort of Christmassy type spirit, and I decided to pick up Audible's free Peter Pan thing that it did for its members, and it was rubbish. I didn't like it at all. It was like, whatever, I don't care. It's not like a theme for my December. Maybe that's why I'm in a slump. I just feel like everything was very meh, apart from like the two things that I really loved. I don't know, it's really strange. So this original Peter Pan thing had like a full cast. I mean, they weren't bad, the people were fine at acting. I didn't really like how they went about the story. They like modernized it, and it was kind of a strange way to modernize it. Also, if Captain Hook and Mr. Smee are not like gay lovers in this, then who is? I mean, just Captain Hook keeps calling Smee my darling, and I'm like, yes! Yes, can we have gay pirates, please? I would really watch the shit out of that and listen to the shit out of that and just have gay pirates, please. I'd like that a lot. Anyone know any books with gay pirates in them? I'll read those. Aside from that, though, the story was rather boring, the people were really annoying, and I didn't care. So there was that. Yeah, it was a thing that I listened to. And the last book that I read this month was The Last Wish by Andrzej Sapkowski. Now this was a set of sort of short stories, I think. I listened to it rather than reading it, so I don't know how they're actually set out in it. But it's very episodic. It follows... Oh, it's the Witcher book. It's like a prequel to The Witcher. So I think it's what the series is based on, but I haven't watched the series because I was like, I want to get a little bit of base knowledge of The Witcher, because I've heard that that's quite helpful when you're watching the series, and I haven't played any of the games. So I thought, well, I can read. I'm not very good at playing games because I always die and I get game rage and I'm like, oh my fucking god, I'm gonna die! So I don't really play games that much. But I just tried to get myself a little bit of background knowledge, and I enjoyed this book. I liked the stories, I thought they were really interesting. My biggest problem is that I don't really get on with short stories, and that's why I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. I don't tend to gel with like the episodic nature of things. I tend to like it when it's like one flowing story, and that's not the book's fault, that's my fault. Like, it just doesn't gel with me, so I definitely recommend this to anyone that enjoys The Witcher or just likes a good sort of different fantasy type thing. It was fun, I enjoyed it. And yeah, nobody give me any Witcher spoilers, please, because I probably still haven't started watching it by the time this video is going up, so please don't spoil me. Anyway, that's all the books that I read in December. It is significantly less than I usually read in a month, but I've been having a slump, so hopefully by the time January comes around, it may already be January when you're watching this, but hopefully in January I'll have gotten out of this slump and started a lot of my new reading projects. And yeah, hopefully I'm reading a lot more than I did this month. Anyway, if you like this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!